everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Maker Monday series here at the Westminster branch of the Carroll County Public Library System. My name is Miss Rebecca, and this year our theme for summer reading is Imagine Your Story. So we have been focusing on all sorts of folk and fairy tales. Oh, and by the way, if you have finished the summer reading program, please feel free to come pick up your prizes now in the back lobby where we do the express pickup. So, the story this week that we are focusing on is about a little girl who is no bigger than my thumb. Can you guess what it is? Thumbelina. So, I have a synopsis of the story I'm going to read for you, and then we're going to do a little craft, okay? So, Thumbelina was written by Hans Christian Andersen, and it's one of his earliest tales, and it was published in 1835 in Copenhagen. So let's get started. There once was a woman who very much wanted a child of her own, but as the years passed, her wish to become a mother never came true. She decided to seek an old witch for help. The witch gave her a special seed to plant in a flower pot. She then told the woman to beware, for strong magic will never do exactly as you desire. The woman paid her and hurried home to plant the seed. After watering it very carefully, it sprouted into a beautiful flower. But the petals remained closed. Although disappointed, the woman said, "It is a beautiful flower," and she kissed the petals. Almost as soon as she did that, the petals opened to reveal a tiny little girl, no bigger than the woman's thumb. And so she was called Thumbelina. At night, Thumbelina slept on a little bed made out of a walnut shell, and she was very happy. And during the day, the woman made a boat out of the tulip and gave her two little horsehair oars, and she spent her days on the table singing and rowing and having the best time of her life. Well, one night, while she was sleeping, a big ugly toad crept in through the window. And he was very enchanted when he saw the tiny girl. And he thought, this would make a lovely wife for my son. So they took Thumbelina. They stole her and brought her back to this pond. But when the son saw Thumbelina, all he could say was, "Croak, croak, croak." The dad said, "Shh, you're going to wake her." So then they placed her on a large lily pad. Where'd my lily pad go? Here we go, a large lily pad. They placed her on a large lily pad. Oh, and then she fell. And then they placed her on a large lily pad again. And then they all swam away. Well, when she woke up, she didn't know where she was, and she was very sad. So the fish nibbled on the stalk of the lily pad, and she floated on down the river. She was much happier. But then all of a sudden, a big ugly beetle swooped down and picked Thumbelina off the lily pad and flew her into a tree where the other beetles stared curiously at her. They decided to not keep her because she didn't look like them. So the beetle flew her back down and placed her on a lovely daisy. Well, happy to be free, she spent the summer months alone, singing with the birds, eating nectar from the flowers, and drinking dew from the grass. As the months grew colder, her bird friends disappeared, and she found herself shivering because the shelter she had made could no longer protect her from the snow and ice. So beyond the woods, she started to walk until she came to a cornfield. Well, in the middle of this cornfield, she walked until she came to the house of a mouse. Well, this mouse was very happy to invite her into her home, but she said, "You must help me clean, and you must sing lovely songs and keep me company throughout the winter." Thumbelina was more than happy to do that in return for the mouse's kindness. The mouse eventually had a visitor named Mr. Mole, who was very well off, and the mouse thought the mole would make an excellent husband for Thumbelina. Well, one night after they had supper, they all went for a walk. And they came upon a bird that seemed like she was dying. Well, the mouse and the mole carried on. But Thumbelina could not stop thinking about that poor bird. So the next night, she brought back a blanket that she had woven out of hay. And she nursed the bird because it turns out she was only frozen from the cold. And she was now recovering because of the warm care Thumbelina was giving him. Her, the bird was a her. Last spring arrived, and the bird was well enough to fly. She asked Thumbelina to come with him. But Thumbelina felt she could not leave and continued living with the field mouse. Well, late summer, the mouse told Thumbelina that she was to be married to Mr. Mole, and this did not make her happy. She wanted to escape, but winter was returning. As she was saying goodbye to the last of the flowers, her bird friend returned, and she asked if she would like to fly to the warm south weather with him. She very happily climbed onto his back for the journey. As the land became more warm and beautiful, they reached the bird's house. They landed in his nest, and he said, "This is my home, and you may choose from one of these magnificent flowers growing down below and make that your home." "Oh yes, that would be lovely," she exclaimed, and chose a flower. To her surprise, there was a tiny gentleman living in the flower, wearing a golden crown. He was the spirit of all the flowers, and also the king of the whole flower village, where each one housed a little man or a woman. In time, she met all of the other villagers when they came to see her marry the tiny king. They brought her gifts, but the best by far was a pair of glistening wings made from a big white fly. They were fastened to her back so that she could fly from flower to flower, just like all of the other fairies of the flower village. The bird stayed with them through the winter, or before the winter, and then she decided that she had to leave for warm country again. She was very sad to say goodbye because she loved Thumbelina, but she knew where she needed to go. So she flew and flew south back to the other nest where she lived above a man who wrote fairy tales. The bird sang tweet, tweet, tweet to the man, and from his song came this very story. The end. So now I have a little craft that we are going to work on. Let me find it under here. We are going to make our very own little flower with our very own Thumbelina in it. Isn't she cute? So this is a pretty easy project. So let me just get my supplies here and we'll get working on it. So you're going to take the beginning of, at the beginning, you're going to take this little egg carton and we're going to color it in, okay? You can use a marker or paint. The kids can color it in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I'm gonna do a quick coloring here. And I gotta get up because my knees are hurting. Okay, let's see here. So we're coloring this all in with a green marker. So let's say you get this mostly colored. Then, forgot my scissors. Then you're going to take, and parents, this is probably should be your your job. You're gonna take this little point of the scissors and you're going to poke a hole, like a little slit, and it's probably best if you do it on the table so that nobody cuts their hand. So you're gonna make a little slit, and that is where your popsicle stick is gonna go through. See? So, while we let our flour dry, I am going to color this popsicle stick in, because this is going to represent the stalk. So, let me color this in, and my fingers are gonna be completely green when we're done. Let's see here. Now normally you can color in the back side too, but this is just for today. I'm trying to make it a little bit easier. So, then you can add 2 eyes, like this. So you have a green stalk and 2 little eyes with a marker, and then you can add a little smile, little tiny smile. And then the other thing I chose, with this one I used some yarn, but this took a while to stick on here. So for today's purposes, I grabbed a little piece of yellow crepe paper. And you're gonna take your glue stick and you're gonna put a little bit of glue kind of right in the middle of the crepe paper. And then I just placed it like this and kind of just wrapped it around your head a little bit. And then it'll glue, and then you'll have Thumbelina's hair. So there's her hair. So now the other part that you need to do is cut out a bunch of petals. And you can choose any color. I did yellow and red just based on our story. But I cut out a bunch of red petals, and you're gonna start to glue these on the bottom. Each one you're gonna glue around the edge of your flower. Whoops, and that one fell off, so let's try again. Glue these around the edge here. And these are not wanting to stick because it's all on my fingers. So, let's see here. So we're gonna just keep gluing our little flower petals, and hopefully they'll stay glued and not come back off on Miss Rebecca's fingers. Let's keep trying here. So many flower petals. And that one came back off. Okay. Martha Stewart, I am not. Okay, let's see here. Let's get another flower petal here. Okay, so then you have somewhat of a flower like this. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your little Thumbelina and you're gonna put her in through the top of the flower and then pull her down in here. So then the next thing that happens, oops, there goes a petal. Now you've got a cute little flower and she can pop up and you have Thumbelina. So, thank you for joining us today on another Maker Monday series. And just remember, if you finished the summer reading, you can come and pick up your prizes now at the back entrance where we do the express pickup. So please join us next week for another episode, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.